Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's been a while.
Been too long.
Well, it's been a few months.
And I'm going to stretch out this podcast as long as we can. I'm not a dick, I'm sorry. So we got a little info to give you before we start this mostly mini podcast, but we never know how short or long this is actually going to be.
Yeah, we're winging it.
So we're happy to announce that 3 people are now part of the 4ES podcast family.
And blog family.
So, well, you know what it means.
Yeah.
I think they know what we mean.
Yeah.
First, we'd like to introduce and thank our friend Patrick Lockwood, who's going to be joining us on a promotional basis. Pat will be helping us promote our podcast, our writing, and the 4ES brand itself, as well as probably contributing to a couple articles here and there. Thanks for listening to our ad, Pat, and thanks for joining us. We're happy to have you aboard.
We also want to thank Andrew Fleet and Mike DeSavigny, who have both agreed to do some level of writing on the blogs. Andrew's going to be working on whatever he feels like working on in the entertainment section, while Mike's going to be focusing on music blogging, something that we're looking to expand to by adding more umbrella reach onto the entertainment portion. Hence the introduction of the Pink Floyd post the other day, which will be the starting point of that.
Once again, if you want to join us in any way, shape, or form to help us build the podcast, help us build the website, help us build everything, Twitter, Reddit, you can help Pat.
You can help us.
You can help us. The sky's no limit with us. The more people we get to help us, the more we can grow this, the more we can make our website go from just a main blog page to having separate pages like music, sports, entertainment, history, blah, blah, blah.
And who knows, there might be money involved sometime. Who knows? Knock on wood.
Even though this is plastic. So,
it's wood now.
Once again, guys, thanks for joining us, and we're excited to have you on the team. So we'll get this podcast rolling. The news days.
Blue Jays, yeah.
The news day isn't the biggest day. We could have picked a
it's pretty quiet today. Like it's
we're
really
not
quiet
what day it is because we don't want to date this podcast.
It's today.
This is podcast 2
of the year.
4
of what? General?
Overall?
No, this is like 7 or something like that.
Ooh, it's lucky number 7.
Something like that. Like we're sort of like that. Plus, we're approaching the 1 year.
Ooh, we've done so many. We should have a best of show just to piss off the 5 listeners.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so starting off, we're going to go and look at the Toronto Blue Jays and the free fall they've done since May. In May, they were the best team in the American League East. And they were the best team in the American League, even beating the Oakland Athletics, who are still at the top now.
Then what happened?
Well, they had a fantastic May and a so-so June, but a good enough June where they were able to keep first place. Now they're doing a free fall in July.
Where are they right now?
They're second place, which doesn't sound bad, but when you're leading for most of June and all of May, about 8 games ahead of everyone else in the hardest division in the league, and taking advantage of how badly teams have been and then start to free fall, there's something wrong. The Jays in the last 10 games are 2-8 and they're on a 5-game losing streak, while the Baltimore Orioles have taken first place and are now 3 games ahead of the Blue Jays. The more the Jays lose, the more they can even fall out of a wild card spot. Who do I blame? Well, if any of you have read anything from Last Word on Sport that I've written, I'm blaming the coach and the general manager and the way the team is run.
I think you've mentioned that before.
It hasn't changed, though. They haven't given me any reason to believe. Even in May, I sat there going, there's a lot more baseball now.
I remember that on the last broadcast, we brought up the coaching staff of the Blue Jays, and you mentioned the fact that the coach was just all over the place and not bringing the team up to what it could be.
Exactly, and they're still all over the place. And yes, you can add in how these crappy injuries are piling up, but you work with what you have, and he doesn't seem to know how to work with it. He's screwing up the pitchers, he's screwing up the batters, he's screwing up everything possible. There's no logic in this coach. Hashtag Fire Gibbons is becoming more of a legit thing on Twitter, and I'm definitely tweeting that. Horse Anthopoulos isn't going to listen, but you know what? At one point or another, the Blue Jays are going to have to actually make a winner. And the best way to do that? Fire the piece of crap coach. He's probably the worst coach in Jays history, and he's probably one of the worst coaches to ever get a job in Major League Baseball. There's a reason why he wasn't rehired after the Jays originally fired him. Continuing with baseball, we're going to go to Sean.
Oh yeah, well I woke up from a lack of sleep this morning, and I saw this piece of hysterical MLB news. Yeah, we're keeping it MLB. Sean's talking about MLB, sort of. There's a video going around the internet right now, and there's a portly American dude. I'm using portly nicely, of course. And he fell asleep during the Yankee-Red Sox game. Now, the thing is, ESPN actually put him on the network. Like, when you're watching it, and you will see this guy snoozing. Like, his chin's on his chest. He's probably drooling all over the place. The guy next to him's texting and whatever. He saw that he got put onto the show. And I don't know if he saw it on the internet or something, but he saw that he got put on the air. Sleeping, felt embarrassed, humiliated. He's now suing ESPN for $10 million.
Well,
yeah,
that guy is, and excuse my French, he's a jackass.
Yeah, well,
and luckily I'm in Canada, so he can't sue me for saying that.
He can't sue anyone for saying, but $10 million for like some sort of violation of like a person's image.
Please don't say privacy.
No, not privacy, but just like a violation of one's image. And he also said that the broadcasters insinuated that he is a fatty cow that needed 2 seats at a time, and is a confused individual that neither understands, knows anything about the history or meaning of the rivalry between the Red Sox and the Yankees. So by implying that he doesn't know anything, they're calling him fat and stupid. Plus, he's sleeping during the game, so he's basically suing them for like a violation of his image.
Okay, so they were actually making fun of him. It wasn't.
Well, he says they insinuated.
Did they actually?
I don't know 100% if they did. They probably like made some sort of jest about the fact that there's this big guy sleeping.
I mean, there's so many times that ESPN and its sister company TSN for Canada has done that, where they've shown people asleep, they've shown people falling down, they've shown people catch a baseball between their crotch and a guy grabbed it to give it to him.
Yeah.
And if anyone remembers, just recently the Toronto Raptors playoff series, where the guy leaned in to kiss his girlfriend and then he got owned, and the girlfriend turned away. She claimed she never saw it, and funny enough,
that looked pretty innocent though.
It was funny though, because TSN brought them on, and she kissed him and apologized, and they didn't even need to do that. This guy's going to be in the top 10 forever. But there's no suing. It looks hilarious. But the fact that someone is suing ESPN, if they were calling him a moron, if they're calling him stupid, if they're calling him uneducated, I can see that drawing the line. And that's where
But if they're flat out saying that's one thing, but if they're implying it, that's a lot of other things, because it's based on skepticism.
There's some harsh remarks too, and the thing is, I do understand that certain announcers sometimes don't know the limits in certain ways they word it. But at the same time, buddy, if you're that tired, don't go to the baseball game.
Yeah.
Honestly, the money you spent to sleep.
Plus, this is
probably wasn't worth it.
This was in the 4th inning too, so.
Yeah, well, the game is 2-1, as we can see from just like the still shot of the video.
Which we can't
Boston,
play.
New York. That's like what? That's like saying I fell asleep during Boston, Montreal in a hockey game.
Yeah,
that's
during the
not
playoffs.
possible.
Because why not playoffs? It's intense. That's just brilliant that way. It's the clash of the titans in terms of the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pretty funny. I also have a copy of the file suit, like the lawsuit. My bad, the file suit. What am I talking about?
There's made out of files.
There's a copy of the lawsuit going around the internet and all that. And according to Sporting News, it's actually filled with grammatical errors. So
speaking of grammatical errors, I'm not going to say who, but you know who you are. Blog.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Those guys. Blurg.
Excuse me. So we're going to move away from baseball because all our 5 listeners are starting to turn it down, are running away slowly. We're going to quickly talk about the CFL. Now, for all you folks in the United States that aren't Canadian, the CFL is this thing where we make a bunch of light bulbs and throw them at each other. You know, CFL light bulbs.
Cricket. No! Would you have to go for Double Jeopardy?
Yes, it's our Canadian Football League. It's a fun sport. There's a lot of people that go, I prefer CFL, I prefer NFL, and they go after each other. It's football, but it's played different ways on both sides.
It's still like football and all
and it's still fun to watch, and clearly it's not hard to get, seeing as Chad Johnson is now a Montreal Alouette. The former Cincinnati Bengals star and troublemaker is now an Alouette wide receiver, which is very cool. The problem, and this is why I bring out the Montreal Alouettes, is that Troy Smith, the quarterback, who's replaced the all-star in Anthony Calvillo, isn't the greatest quarterback so far. The Alouettes are only 1-1 to start this early season.
Yeah,
it's not terrible.
Well, we won one with a fantastic win, but then we also got embarrassingly
trounced by Calgary, but we did all right against BC. Yeah. My problem and complaint for the receiving is that Troy Smith, the quarterback, is throwing it everywhere. Now, just to look at the catches and stuff, so far there hasn't been a single TD pass. That's alarming in 2 games. That shouldn't happen. I know it's early, but there's 16 games left now.
Calvillo casts a really big shadow.
Calvillo does cast a giant shadow, but I feel like you have to have another option in Smith, or at least have brought in a veteran quarterback to tell Smith, okay, this is what you're going to do. Because if he doesn't do well, he's gone by mid-season.
Oh, of course.
And what bugs me is, I'm a fan of Chad Johnson. I really am. And there was times where, okay, I was kind of like, grumble, when he was a Bengal. He wasn't doing the best thing ever,
questionable actions.
Yeah. But right now, Troy Smith has yet to throw him a pass, it seems. So looking at the stats right now, he's thrown 6 to S.J. Green, 6 to Eric Delorier, 5 to Brandon London, 5 to Kenny Stafford, and only 1 to Dave Stala, who's also a very good wideout. Now, I understand with Green being probably one of the best wide receivers or slot backs in the game, and Eric Delorier and London are very good too, that he's got to spread the ball a bit. But what I noticed watching against the BC game is that Troy Smith never throws to his left. He's always going down right or center. He never throws on his left side. That's a bit alarming.
It's also a bit predictable.
That's exactly it, though. And that's why it's alarming, because the next team could pick up on it and destroy him for that. I'm surprised the Lions weren't figuring it out.
We just ruined the Alouettes right now.
Well, I love the Alouettes.
If someone's listening to this, we're totally just baiting the NCAA.
I know, but just for me, and I get it, he's not Calvillo. We probably won't get one ever again.
Well, at least not for a while.
But when you have so much talent, when you have so many players that can make catches, yes, Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, whatever the hell you want to call him, is older, but he still is a good player. And to me, I feel that they need to spread the ball out a bit more.
Yeah.
And I find that Troy Smith just won't last as long if they don't get their stuff together.
Yeah, it's probably true, but I guess time will tell. We're only 2 games in, as you mentioned. Let's see what it's like 4 games in, and then go from there. If we're still making the same mistakes, then obviously something needs to be done.
So John, off the sports.
Yeah, we're going to change it up from sports right now. The question mark thing in the entertainment world today, because like I said, there's basically jack going on today in terms of everything news. J.K. Rowling put out a new post on her, what's it called? Basically her Harry Potter, Pottermore, that's the name of her blog right now. And she actually has like a short story up there for Harry Potter. It's around 1,500 words, so no shorter or longer than your average university essay, give or take. I don't know what everyone else's essays are like, just saying. But it takes place in the future during the Quidditch World Cup, and Harry Potter is just about to turn 34, and it's written from the point of view of the wonderfully annoying Rita Skeeter. And if you remember Rita Skeeter, she's the gossip columnist, and she was featured in the 4th movie and some of the books. Really annoying. For the most part, it's a reunion of sorts. Like everyone's getting back together, and they talk about how Harry Potter has like silver hair, like he's getting silver streaks. He's got like this wicked scar on his face now because something to do with how he was an aura. He went to the Ministry of Magic, but he left after 2 years.
No, we're in the whole thing.
I'm not ruining the whole thing. That's like in the first few paragraphs, and that's in most of the plot synopsis. Like it's not really anything big, but it's just like a little thing. Like here's like a little update, and yes, Victor Crumb is in it. Just saying.
I was right. My question is, and did you mention that who's who's writing it.
Yeah, you better not pay attention to me.
I blew it because I just realized something that I'll say right after. But no, it's a very interesting aspect, and it's one of those things where I remember when the rumor came out on April Fool's that J.K. Rowling was going to come out with a Harry Potter book just to kind of continue down the road of what happened in his life.
This is basically it.
But at the same time, she could easily do stuff. What she's done is she's put herself in the open where she can start from there, go later,
and according to
go earlier if she was to do that.
The Mirror, it's like a UK, I guess you want to say like tabloid sites. They had like a poll this morning on whether or not J.K. Rowling should write another book, and there was something like 83% in favor of writing a new book, 17% against it. I'd actually put it against it. Like, I think it's good where it is right now. We don't need to have any more. Like, these short stories are cool, but like another full-blown book.
Call it the Friends factor. Friends was a fantastic show from season 1 all the way to 10. They didn't need to change anything. And they don't need to make a movie. They don't need to let us use our imagination.
That movie actually happens, though.
No, but I don't see that movie. Like, everyone's like, oh, Sex and the City made so much money.
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston's price tag alone is worth like everyone else's price tag.
And see, that's the thing, and I don't think it's fair to possibly risk the series, because there's too much going on with the 6 characters. And remember the spin-off Joey, you kind of have to explain, well, what happened with Joey?
And then that show wasn't very good.
So when it comes to another Harry Potter book, I think it's just, you run the risk of ruining everyone's imagination, because we can make up anything. They already gave us a 19 years later thing, ideally around this time.
Well, so it's around the same time because they talk about like Harry's kids and all that, and Hermione and Ron.
Technically, he didn't have a scar in the book, so
he's got this like big scar on his face. So it'd be interesting to see, but it wouldn't be more like here's a giant conflict against who. It would be like here's Potter just doing like his day-to-day.
It'd be nice to see the side stories. Be like,
that's
kind of tell you like, okay, this is what happened to Neville, even though we know he's a teacher.
Well, he's mentioned here too, so
Professor McGonagall became blank.
Yeah, that's why I think the blogs are a good idea, but to write like a full-blown book, I don't know about that.
If the viewership and the comments get big enough, she might actually just start doing blogs and pop it into one book later on.
Maybe
it's not too expensive, but I like the idea of giving us a bit more, because that actually sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
I do want to read it.
And I will post it on the blog later on today, so you all can read it. You're welcome.
So for the part that I blew it, Chad Johnson technically caught 2 passes for 20 yards for the Montreal Alouettes against the Calgary Stampeders when they lost. TSN, for whatever reason, didn't have the stats up there, and I couldn't find them. So they kind of made me blow it. So damn you, TSN. Damn you all to hell.
Tisk. So there's not too much happening else in the Like, I'll just bring up right now that SDCC is going to be coming up in a few weeks, and we're going to be talking about that when it comes up. We're going to be doing full-blown blog coverage. Well, I'll be covering it at least. So if
he will.
Yes, I will. So any information, much like E3, I'm going to do like a wrap-up report on that, and I'll do a day-to-day best of, so to speak. So keep tuned on that.
But keep in mind, for the San Diego Comic-Con, this is what we're going to hear. When does it come? What's the first day of Comic-Con?
I can't remember the exact day. I think it's the 25th. I want to say.
Right before Guardians of the Galaxy. So there'll be a bit of promotional stuff for that.
Well, they actually did promotion for Guardians of the Galaxy today for like a sneak peek. They showed 20 minutes of it. It was well received.
There's Avengers 2 coming out.
Might get shown, but I wouldn't hold
They're going to talk. This is what they're probably, this is what we're assuming that they're going to talk about.
Yeah, they'll probably do a panel, but they won't show anything.
Maybe J.J. Abrams might say 3 words about Star Wars. Although he's done a very good job at keeping it under. I don't know what he's done to force everyone not to say anything.
They probably have.
He must have guns at all their heads because
pretty much
unbelievable.
Not literal guns or blaster rifles, but
maybe blaster rifles.
Maybe blaster rifles. But the insane legal documents involved with Star Wars right now is probably ridiculous.
And it sucks that it has to be all this legal stuff, but if that's the beginning of something new where we can actually keep things secret, I like that. Comic-Con should also be talking about Ant-Man and whether or not it's good to go or if it's dead.
Yeah, well, there was an update on that earlier today too, but it's so minor. Like they have a new writer just running over the script right now, and
But does that mean...
I've lost a little faith in Ant-Man, to be honest, since Edgar Wright has left. Ever since that happened, my faith
I had no faith in Ant-Man since I read comics about Ant-Man,
yeah,
so you know.
Edgar Wright, the great Edgar Wright was directing it.
You could have said the J.K. Rowling was writing it, and I'd still say it's still Ant-Man.
And I would still say Edgar Wright. And Edgar Wright fans will know what I'm talking about when I say...
Why don't we get the guy that does... that thing where everybody talks about, that thing that I like to make fun of that everyone talks about?
NTL Blog?
No, shut up.
I don't know. I'm talking about Edgar Wright here.
No, NTL Blog does some great work. They're not us, but they do great work. And what I'm talking about is a Game of Thrones. I'm surprised you didn't say the Game of Thrones guy should write the script for Ant-Man. That would be the best movie. It would have boobs all over the place. And it would have Paul Rudd, so it would be him making obscure jokes about boobs. And then, I don't know,
that'd be really random.
A dragon would attack Ant-Man.
Just because...
Or he'll get an arrow to the knee.
That was Skyrim.
That's the same thing.
No, it's not.
I just enraged all the fans of Lord of the Rings. I just angered Lord of the Rings fans and Game of Thrones fans.
Pretty much, and Skyrim fans. Anyway, to wrap it up on this shorter broadcast, we'll end it off on the FIFA World Cup. And if you actually took the time to read it, which apparently a lot of you did, like we had a few hundred people reading this particular blog.
So before you think it's everyone we know,
well, it'll get shared around.
Let's just thank Reddit for those followers.
And
angry people.
We did the World Cup group picks by Sean and Nick, and we were going over like what we did, and most of our picks are pretty off. It was kind of hysterical. Like I said, Mexico would get kicked out on the group stages, for example.
Well, we're just going to go through the list,
Yeah, listen, that's Group A right there. I was like, Croatia's going to make it through as opposed to Mexico.
I said Mexico, Brazil.
Yeah, you got that one right.
Yes!
Good job.
I should have bet on that. The next one, though...
We both said Spain. We both thought Spain were going to make it through, but look what happened there. Spain, the powerhouse, the winners, they got kicked out after...
Good.
Take
that, Alonso.
Oh, yeah, Xabi Alonso. I wouldn't have put him, but okay.
I was talking about Alonso that Ferrari.
That's what I thought you were driving, but okay. Whatever. But the Dutch are going through, and they play tomorrow against Argentina, and there's your little hint on the date. It is today, just saying. So it was cool with the Dutch going through. Like, the Dutch play a bit of a boring game, but I would be happy watching them win along with Germany in a final. That'd be mighty entertaining. I said Japan would go through for sure.
I did too. So Team Pokemon, you have disappointed me.
But Cote d'Ivoire, they made it through past the group stages. So
I said Greece.
Yeah, they did. Well, Greece and Cote d'Ivoire collectively went through. So.
Oh, they jerks.
Yeah, England and Italy. Like I said, I said they both have potential, but they're not in their prime, so they probably won't make it past the round 16. Couldn't have been more right. Didn't even make it to the round of 16. Uruguay might have helped with the support of superstar Suarez, I said, and it was true. When Uruguay had Suarez, they were doing well.
He bit a guy,
and then when he went and when it chomp and Suarez got out, Uruguay was unable to make a single goal.
Which is good, because that shows that karma works, so you deserve it, Suarely. And I was wrong about Group D. I said my bias was England and Italy, and my bias... I lost interest in the World Cup after I saw both those teams go down.
Yeah,
I haven't been really good with keeping track in the knockout stage, unfortunately.
What's the shame is this World Cup has been one of the best World Cups ever. Even
Did you see that Van Persie goal?
Yeah, it was really good. But that was like the first game.
That's not my problem. Ooh, guys, for 1 second, big news for people who don't give a crap. The View has just announced that Rosie O'Donnell is joining.
I don't care. Moving on.
It's entertainment news, damn it.
Rosie O'Donnell. France and Switzerland, that's what you picked for Group E. I've said France will go ahead and might make it to the top 8, so I should put some hard money on that one, because they did make it to the top 8. So.
No, you shouldn't.
No, I should have. Argentina obviously made it through for Group F. They're playing tomorrow against Netherlands, as previously mentioned. You mentioned Nigeria. and I mentioned Iran, actually. And I don't remember who went through on that one. I really don't. I didn't follow anything about Group F. I actually.
Don't ask me.
I was actually hoping Argentina would make it top 8, but they've made it to top 4. And I found their games have been a little boring. That they've always been 1-0 wins.
I was disappointed in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia.
Sure.
Bosnia didn't make it. Then going down to the Group of Death.
Yeah, Group G. That was entertaining.
Oh, I mean, the Portugal game against Germany was hilarious.
Oh yeah, that was a kick in the balls. If that game didn't happen the way it did, Portugal would have gone over instead of the USA.
It's funny, I was wrong. I said it was going to be Portugal and Germany, and it States and Germany. The States.
But the States they were tied with Portugal. The only reason they went over was the goal difference, which is what happened on that first game Portugal played. But if they lost that game maybe 1-0, 2-0, Portugal would have gone through.
Well, that's what you get when Kaka or PP or whatever his name was headbutts a guy and gets kicked out.
Completely different team.
No, Pepe,
not Kaka. Kaka's on Brazil.
Well, Pepe got knocked out of the Germany game for being dumb enough to headbutt someone, so that probably factored a bit in because you get rid of one of those players.
Yeah, he was back though for the USA.
A little bit of news for people that like to follow Kaká around. Apparently he did sign a deal with an MLS team that's going to start next season for Florida.
Yeah, which is interesting. Apparently Kaká says that there's an interest for the European and South American players to come to the States. I don't know, they've been saying that since the back days.
I'll have to actually start spending real money.
Yeah.
Instead of $10 per player.
And I'm pretty sure he's already on loan to a European team.
There's impact players that literally still have to ride the metro in Montreal.
Yeah.
But there's no way, unless you start fixing where the money goes, and there's no way owners, any of the owners will be like, well, let's give more money. No one will ever say that. And the final group?
Yeah, I put Russia and Korea, actually. I did not say Belgium.
Belgium and Algeria, and I only put Belgium and Russia, so I got Belgium right.
Yeah, I was surprised that I didn't pick Belgium because Fellaini and all that, my Manchester United bias, but
whatever. We all know about your Manchester United.
Yeah. Everyone has to have to, but I will still stand by my original statement saying that the Germans will win the cup.
Apparently.
And you said your bias says England or Italy winning the cup.
But I said the non-bias was going to be Germany, so I still have a chance.
But your bias was completely wrong.
Well, that's because it's a bias and they're never right.
Yeah. I would still never put money on my bias.
I would.
No.
Against it.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, that's more or less it for today.
We're sorry our content wasn't as big, but we really just wanted to get another podcast out there for you to watch, listen. You can watch the lines go by and see how long this podcast takes.
They wouldn't see the lines go by.
No, I'm talking about on YouTube and the little red line gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
The bottom bar.
Ironically, there was times where we should have done a podcast with more news and we didn't. So today's our lazy podcast, but we're very happy you listened to us once again. Please follow us on Twitter at 4ES Podcast. Follow me at nvincelli. Follow Sean at Sean Gallagher.
07.
There you go. And don't forget to like us on Facebook because that's where you'll get a lot more info.
Yeah, the Facebook's
about our stuff. There's a lot more people view it, more people check it out. We post articles and stuff that might not be from us, but we share stuff from things we see on the internet that might be fun or exciting. Don't forget to also check us at 4espodcast.wordpress.com to find our stuff there. Write to us on Twitter, on Facebook if you want to join us. We're happy to let you into our family. So without further ado, and happy Canada Day and 4th of July for all our friends down south.
America.
So without further ado, that's it for the day. Have a great day, guys.
See you.